Hey my friends, welcome back to a new video. Today we'll be talking about the March Equinox. As the March Equinox marks the time when the day and night are approximately equal in length, symbolizing balance and renewal. It's a time of transition into more fluid and active energy in the northern hemisphere and a time of slowing down and resting in the eastern hemisphere. So officially it happened yesterday on March 19. And as this great alignment takes place, it brings with it a very fluid but peaceful energy. But it's experienced often quite the opposite. Because, if you look at the society and imagine that there's a lot of chaos happening and you see one peaceful person coming in. Most often, this peaceful person will irritate most angry people because that person is just not responding to what's happening. He's not reacting to what's happening. And that's how the energy of peace and fluidity often disturbs the energy of chaos and anger and frustration. But it's the energy of awakening. So it is manifesting in many of us the way that we may feel more vulnerable, we may feel more irritated, we may feel more easily being triggered during this time. If you pay attention to how you're feeling, maybe for the recent 3 to 4 days, you may notice that you've been more vulnerable. You've been more easily triggered. You've been more maybe irritated. And it's the calling for you to learn to calm your inner storms. That's how you open up to the peaceful energy of the balance that the Mother Nature brought to us during this time. So doesn't matter when you're watching this video, this energy will be present for at least the next 2 to 3 days. And then it will just be a bit less potent, but it will still be present. So how can you use this energy? I want to give you 4 reminders to do it. And before we go to the reminders, I want to say to you to really notice what's happening within yourself. And don't just define yourself. I'm being stuck. I'm being stressed. I'm being lost. I've lost a perspective. I'm being sick or whatever. See it as an internal storm. Most people are living their lives constantly having this internal storm of so many senses being overused because of so many external impulses. And our calling came to learn to balance these internal storms. So you need to learn to work with yourself. That's why I'm often giving you reminders, not what's happening externally, but how to manage what's happening internally, which is often more important. The message is that you can step forward into growth, into more coherence, into more connectedness, or you can step backwards into safety, into security, which is nothing wrong with safety and security, just that you get stuck there if you don't move out, right? So it's a risk. We need to make certain risks in our lives. And at this point of your life, you're being reminded to reflect on how much you're taking risks in your life. The ones that could introduce you to something new, maybe to new people, or maybe to new financial opportunities, or maybe to improvement of your health, to raise of your well-being. How much you're taking this kind of risks. When a calling within arises, like, I want to get myself into this class, I want to start studying this, I want to connect myself with this type of people, and then your intellect comes in and kind of tries to analyze everything, and then you don't do anything. You just overthink and don't do anything. Well, this is a great time of nature's balance where the balance can help you to find inner quietness more easily. But firstly, you will be irritated. Firstly, you will be triggered. Firstly, you will experience being more overwhelmed, being more, let's say, over the place. So, because you're going through a transformation, and because everything in nature moves in cycles, you also need to learn to read your own cycles. Every time you become more vulnerable and irritated, you're moving through a transformation. When you feel more grounded and more maybe driven and motivated, it means you're moving through integration of what happened during transformation. In a human sense, it may feel much less clear than on energy level. So it may feel like you start looking for reasons what's wrong with you. Every time you're more energetically vulnerable, emotionally vulnerable, feeling lost, feeling like there's too much chaos happening within you. You try to find an explanation that could say to you what is wrong with you. While there's nothing wrong with you, there's just a lot of unmanaged stuff within, a lot of unmanaged emotions, and a lot of unrecognized beliefs, and a lot of unidentified behaviors that are just repeating the same cycle, which means the transformation you're undergoing right now is not taking you where it's meant to take you. You're just moving in a loop. And the reminder right now with this message is to recognize if you find yourself being in a loop, it's because the transformation you're moving through, you're not taking time to recognize where it is really calling you to go. So the first reminder that came to me for this video was that the universe is calling you and your job is to listen. So one practical advice here is to sit down in quietness. Because during the equinoxes, in all kinds of traditions, in all kinds of ancient indigenous tribes, people were looking at this time as the time of great opportunity to connect with the ancestors within their DNA. It's not something, as many people have been kinda brainwashed in a sense, that something very externally mystical should happen, like somebody should come from the sky. No, it's within you. You come across this strength that is been present within your DNA because of your ancestors. Because those who walked before you have learned to activate their courage and activate their strength and activate their power and resilience, which means it's present within you, but many of you haven't learned to tap into it because you're not challenging yourself on many levels. Some of you do, and you know what it means. You've recognized how incredible you are, and still times may be challenging sometimes, but you know that all these challenges can only be resolved if you firstly learn to calm your inner storm, which means that you sit in quietness and you stay in quietness until that storm will kind of transition into a calm breeze, where you experience voices of insights, spontaneous realizations, glimpses of wisdom that is kind of putting puzzles back together, and you see a clear picture of where your life is taking you. And if you don't take time for that, you might just feel like you're going into another cycle of same events, same experiences, another loop. So the universe is calling you and your job is to listen. This is a very important reminder because when you truly listen and don't listen to your mind, really take time and sit for 1 hour if you need, 2 hours if you need, or take a whole day off and listen. That's something I did yesterday, and it is very profound because you recognize that your psychology is not so complex. Your energy system is not so complex. It can take care of itself. If you fast on impulses, and if you stop reacting to everything that's happening, your system will settle. And your energy will ground. And if you sit with your attention on just one spot, that's why in many ancient meditations they said focus on the third eye. Focus on this spot between or behind your eyes, between your ears. Not to, again, experience something mystical like your third eye will open and something will happen that will completely blow you away. But because when your attention stays at one spot and you sit there in quietness, your mental impulses and thinking patterns are not disturbing the natural rhythm that is balancing within your body. And if you are not disturbing this natural rhythm that is balancing itself within your body, it leads to clarity. That's why when people experience clarity, they experience a sense of knowing, and that was often described as the opening of the third eye, right? It didn't open because people were just focused on that spot. It opened because they stopped interacting with a natural healing mechanism that can only happen if you allow it to happen. When you stop overthinking, when you stop constantly doing something, when you stop eating, when you stop distracting yourself, that's when you hear what the universe is saying to you. And right now is the most perfect time in a year to do that. Doesn't matter if you're on a northern hemisphere of this planet or eastern hemisphere of this planet. The universe is speaking to you, and your job is to listen. The second reminder that came to me was new levels of clarity, sensitivity, and strength. It's something you may expect if you are learning to manage yourself. Well, you're getting yourself onto a new level of clarity, because every time you experience internal clarity, something that was hidden will be seen, right? It's like coming into a very, very messy room. And when you turn on the light, you will see a mess there. But then you start cleansing it, and every time you put something out, you will find more space there. And sometimes something will be hidden behind all the garbage and all this stuff. So what is happening, you start to see more and more and more of the potential of that room. That's what's happening when you're tapping into clarity. You start to see more of the potential of your own inner space. So more creativity can take place. Your imagination becomes more clear, which means you can visualize more clearly and therefore draw new experiences into your life just through thinking. Your sensitivity will increase, again, because every time you tap into this inner clarity, inner quietness, you become more sensitive to what was there before but suppressed. So you become aware of what you've been unaware before, and therefore you expand a certain level of your senses. You become more sensitive in a sense of a strength. You can use your senses. You know, it's very powerful when you start recognizing your natural energy rhythms. For example, at what time of the day you have the highest energy, and at what time of the day you have the lowest energy. Why? Because you can put important tasks at the time when you have the most energy, and therefore you will do them with a great quality of clarity once again. And when you have the lowest energy, that's when you're the most connected with the spirit realm, and at that time you can experience many downloads and insights. If you don't listen to these natural rhythms, you will do whatever you're doing when you have the highest energy, and you will be still forcing yourself to do everything when you have the lowest energy, and therefore your natural rhythms will go out of balance. It will create a disturbance within your inner world, a nervous system. It leads to anxiety, it leads to stress, it leads to worry, and if it's not managed, it leads to disease and many other disorders in personality. So it's very important to expand your sensitivity and to listen. Be connected with nature. That will bring you the greatest possible strength. Because when your energy is the highest, you can do incredible things. When your energy is the lowest, you're the most connected with the spirit. So rest at these times, meditate, and connect with yourself. The third reminder is that your savor is solution to your current challenge. Your savor is solution to your current challenge. And spiritual growth will happen in the process of discovering that solution, which is a very different approach than most people in maybe religious circles think about the savor. Somebody will come and save you. While savor is usually a solution, when you're dealing with poverty, savor is a certain financial richness, so we can buy food and clothes and so on. When you're dealing with loneliness, presence, and someone who can listen is a solution, right? Nothing will help you if you're dealing with something physical if there is no solution to that. But the process of discovering whatever kind of solution is the biggest possible growth. This is so important to know, especially for those of you who are interested more into certain spiritual topics, because many times people even use spiritual language to escape from their physical challenges, which is quite a challenging approach because it will not help you to deal with your own daily life challenges. Like, for example, if you have undiscovered trauma, and because of that you may be easily irritated, and therefore you want to escape this irritation, the way that you just ignore all people in your life, it will not cause any solution for you. It will not heal you. It will only hide more of the pain that you feel. While the solution truly is to turn on the light and slowly start noticing that there's a reason why you're hiding. There's a reason why you're so easily triggered. And most probably because you were never seen, you were never appreciated, you were never heard. Nobody ever said to you that you mean something to them. Nobody ever showed you appreciation. So it's important to notice these patterns within you, so you recognize, well, the greatest evolution of my soul will happen once I start really embracing these parts of myself. I was never seen, so can I see myself for who I am? I was never heard. Can I hear my own insights? Can I hear my own gifts, my talents? Can I say yes to them? Can I do what let's say my nature calls me to do? Can I see if there's somebody doing that? Can I connect with them? Can I learn from them? Can I, stretch myself in some new directions? That's the real spiritual healing. And the fourth reminder that came to me was that it's time for a spring cleaning, right? But cleaning the mess that lowers your self-esteem. It is your inner mess, usually mental one, right? Recognizing all these toxic beliefs you have about yourself. Sure, you've heard all kinds of things about yourself, but you don't need to believe them anymore. But again, the challenge is what you know you believe about yourself is much smaller than what you don't know you believe about yourself. So often, deep reflection can be very, very helpful. That's why during the Equinox time, people were, if you've been in any ceremony, like walking on fire and being in a certain collective meditation, I've been. So it's a very intense process where you take a lot of time for just deep meditation and reflection of your fears. Like you're visualizing your fears. You're taking 1 hour or 2 hours just to think about your deepest possible fears and writing them down. And it's very intense. People are crying, people are screaming, people are jumping around. Because for many people, it's so painful just to think about their fears, even though it's nothing physical, it's all mental, all emotional. It's a great time if you find a partner or someone who can do this work with you. Like, take a piece of paper and just think about your deepest fears. Write them down. And then you can just burn that paper and see what would happen if you would not have these fears. How much differently you would behave. It doesn't mean that when you burn this paper, all these fears will disappear. But it's a symbol of what happens if you would live without fears. If you would live without this overthinking and perfectionism and all these limited ideas that are constantly pulling you into a certain box where you don't belong anymore, it's time for you to outgrow it. If you would plant a tree into a certain box, at some point, that tree would shatter the box. It would, with the roots, with the branches, it would just outgrow it. The box would just fall apart. But if the box becomes a cage, then it would limit a tree. Then tree would need to lower its standards and it would limit its growth. So the problem is that many people are living in the cages and they are not even aware that they live in the cages. That's why what you know you believe about yourself is much smaller than what you don't know you believe about yourself. Deep regressions can be very powerful, or conversations with someone who's very experienced about this identity transition and noticing limited ideas about your identity, about your vision for life, and finding that deep clarity once again, noticing who you are when mind settles, who you are when the emotional turmoil calms down. What's left? And try to find out for yourself what's left, because if you experience it, you will know who you are. And once you know who you are, then the question is only, are you willing to embody it in your daily life? And if you say yes to it, then get ready, because your life is about to change. So, my friends, I hope you found great value in today's message for the March Equinox. I'm sending you lots of love, blessings, and power, and I hope you've enjoyed in today's artwork. Till next time, one love. Hey my friends, I hope you've enjoyed in today's video. I want to remind you that we've just opened a fresh new store called AttractPassion.com, where you can find all of my work. original paintings, you can find prints of all of my art in different sizes, so go there and check it out, AttractPassion.com. If you will use the code PASSION15, you will get 15 off onto your first order. So go there and check it out. And to anyone who would love to work with me one-on-one, I'm offering one-on-one coaching. We have some free spots once again. You can go and check out the link in the description of this video where you can find everything there. So go and check it out. If you would like to do something with the inspiration that you feel right now, it will help you so much to transform your life. I want you to do something with it. If you feel inspired, you have to do something with it. So my friends, till next time, one love.